Not far away on a rugged section of the California coast, the lone cypress clings to a barren rock and continues its long-time struggle to survive. Today, for our drivers, it'll be a brand new struggle because the Absolute Beginner League has broken off its long-running romance with the Skippy to have a fling with the Formula Renault 2.0. Formula Neagle makes its Season 14 debut from Laguna Seca Raceway. Hello and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel and Countdown to Green as cyberspace flows into your place over these 15 streaming award-worthy minutes. GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate the 60 minutes of simulated Formula Renault racing that follows immediately as we count down to green for round one of Formula Neagle. And here to do all of that is yours truly, Bill Soup Zahn, joined way up in the press box to bring you our bird's eye view by my longtime Formula Neagle partner, Adam Young. Back for another season as director is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, Joe Peak, armed with cameras located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by GSRC's camera guru, Dougie Beard. Now, Northern California has two terrific road courses. A little north from here and inland in Vineyard Country is the track that attracts the more prestigious real-world racing series like IndyCar and NASCAR, that being Sonoma Raceway. But Adam, while Sonoma is where they may make the wine, today it's all about opening the bottle because Laguna Seca has the corkscrew.
Yeah, it really does, and it's probably one of the more famous turns in all of motorsports. Of course, Laguna Seca only located just a few miles off the Central California coast near Monterey, and you could actually see the Pebble Beach Golf Course right from the track itself, which is pretty neat. Now, of course, the track was built in 1957, and you probably remember it from the kart days, particularly back in 1996, that crazy pass that Alex Zanardi pulled on Brian Herta, I believe it was. And of course, the WeatherTech Sports Car Series still comes here to this day. Of course, they tried to get Formula One at one point. They really couldn't. But, Formula One's been able to get onto some great tracks in the United States since then. So 2.2 miles around and 3.6 kilometers will be the distance around this place here for today. And, of course, 18 stories is the elevation change. Of course, a lot of that coming right down off the corkscrew. So with that, let's go ahead and take a trip around Laguna Seca in the GSRC car.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Formula Renault 2.0, so let's do a lap around Laguna Seca. Turn 1 is nothing in this car. Just keep your foot to the floor over the big rise, then drift to the right to set up for the Andretti hairpin. This will probably be the best place for an overtake on the track, but the downhill braking is going to make it easy to overshoot this double apexer. As you come off the exit, bring it over to the left and then get it woed up for 3. This corner really tightens up on the exit, and it's not uncommon to see drivers slide the car off into the dirt on the outside. From there, we approach 4, which requires a little lift even in this high downforce open wheeler. But carrying your speed through that kink will really pay off because anyone slow will be vulnerable down into turn 5. The camber and compression of the uphill climb means you can get away with braking pretty late, but once again, the speed off the corner is what really counts. Momentum up this steep hill will be pretty important, especially because you don't want to go too wide through turn 6. The elevation is going to continue to rise, and you'll just carry the car over to the left. Find a reference point at the blind rise and try not to lock up the brakes as you set up for the corkscrew. The track really disappears through the first apex of this frightening chicane, and the second apex is a hope and a prayer. But we're immediately into Rainy Curve. Take a wide entry and hit the apex very late. Then swing the car back to the left side of the track and try to carry your speed through the banking of 10. From there, you've got one last place to maybe sneak a pass in through the final hairpin. Just make sure not to compromise your exit too much, or else you'll be slowed down the main straight. But as we come to the line, we've now finished the lap around Laguna Seca.
We've got the corkscrew, so what better place to pop the cork for Season 14 than Laguna Seca? Joe Peak talking us around this dusty track. Now, since this is the opening round of the season, we have no point standings to show you, but we'll take this opportunity to close the book on Season 13. Now, this was back when they were running the Skippies, and it was the Rolling Estonian Aero Num who was able to comfortably get to the championship with a 16-point margin over David Third Degree Burns, who was looking pretty as the bridesmaid. Of course, Num racing for Team Bush Fink Pink and Burns for Two Stupid Dogs. Two Stupid Dogs making a return for Season 14. The Slovene machine, Patrick Fliss, came home in 3rd as a privateer. Johan van de Velde, racing for Sea Bottom Racing, was able to sit on the podium in 4th, or sit on the overlay in 4th, and rounding out the overlay, is Vincent Bream, a teammate of David Burns for Two Stupid Dogs. So if you can figure that Burns and Bream were both on that top 5 overlay, you would be surprised not to see Two Stupid Dogs at the top of the team standings. And sure enough, they are there as they win comfortably with the 73-point margin over the Bush Fink Pink team, mostly led by Errol Nunn, with a little help there from Frederick Neptune. Not sure if Frederick is returning for the Formula Renault. Didn't see his name on the entry list today. Sea Bottom Racing, of course, has Michelle Rugenbrink and Johan Vandeveld. They had a very respectable opening season as they come home in 3rd position. Rounding out the overlay there is Wonderlust Racing with Diogo Francisco. He's here. He was really good in the Skippy. Let's see how he does in the more powerful car. Timo Vastamaki, his teammate. And unfortunately, Mama Jean Racing is no longer with us. Well, let me clarify. She is still with us, very healthy, 95 years old, still living at home. But Mama Jean has closed up shop as a racing team. Tuan Tran and Bastian Hausman are both back, though, racing for another livery. So there you have it. That takes care of the standings. Let's go ahead now and go to Adam, and he'll tell us about what this new format is all about.
Yeah, okay, so a couple of different changes. I mean, of course, Soup just talked about some of the team changes that we're having, but we're also having some other changes as well. The big one, of course, being the Formula Renault car. Totally different car here for this season. I mean, I think they've been running the Skip Barber machine at least for the last, as long as I've been involved with the Absolute Beginners League, so quite a while, 7 or 8 seasons at least. Round 1 of 7 here for today. There are no drops in the series. Now, the next big change from seasons past, the race distance, 60 minutes. We're going a full hour, and every round this season will be a 60-minute race. And with that, 30% fuel. That is going to guarantee, at least here at Laguna Seca, 2 stops. So strategy very much going to be in play about when you take those 2 stops. There is a 24 incident cap here for today as well. And that might be trouble for some guys, especially with a field this large, Soup. I mean, it's absolutely ginormous.
Yeah, one thing that has kind of become the modus operandi for a Formula Neagle season is the huge grids that we have to open up these very short seasons. Remember, this is only a 7-race season. What do we got here today? We're looking at well, I guess we're full. What do we have, like 60?
Yeah, we were thinking maybe 62 cars, assuming everybody is still in the server, and I think just about everybody is still in the server, so it's going to be an absolute chaotic start. If you want to see maybe one of the craziest starts you'll ever see in iRacing, I have this feeling in my stomach that we're getting ready to see that here for today. Now, my biggest question, Soup, that I want to see, is anybody going to be able to make up 40 spots from their grid position to their finishing position here today? That's what I want to see. I want to see somebody make up 40 spots.
Well, they have actually bonus points for Hard Charger here, and they have a couple other new things this season. There is the F1 Championship, the F2 Championship, and also a Rookie Championship. We'll be covering all of those as the season progresses. Boy, if qualifying was ever important, it's going to be here with such a huge field. And Adam, qualifying is kind of unique that the way they have it set up.
Yeah, they do. Okay, so usually we've done open qualifying. Everybody goes out and turns their laps just like normal. Now, this season, especially since we're expecting some pretty large fields, they're going to put a limit on how much you can go out there. And it's also a way to also encourage teammates to go out there. So what are they doing? Well, you are only going to be allowed 3 timed laps in qualifying. You're giving an out lap, the 3 laps, and then an in lap to come back down pit road. That's it. If you go over that 3 lap time, and that includes if you happen to try to come in, you got to do those 3 laps consecutively. That's going to be your best strategy, because if you come in, well, that's going to get counted against you. But if you go past those 3 laps, you either A, start in the pits, and if you fail to do that, you get B, a black flag penalty for a stop and go. So there's a very interesting qualifying format they're having here.
Yeah, the idea is for maybe teammates to work together and get somebody in the tow, although series organizers are saying that these cars really don't do a lot of pulling here at Laguna Seca. Right now, we're looking at the man on the pole is a newcomer. There is a rookie championship, and I believe Claudius Veed would qualify for that. Sitting on top right now, putting in a 1:18.521. he's really fast, about 0.4 of a second faster than, well, there comes the Roland Estonian. We were wondering how fast Aero Num was going to be in these little more powered cars. Looks like he's still going to be pretty quick, Adam.
Yeah, you had to figure that Aero Num was still going to be pretty quick. He has a good way of figuring stuff out, and it's going to be interesting to see his transition going from that Skip Barber machine to the new Formula Renault 2.0. Formula Renault, this car has so much more power than Skippy. These cars are going to be more liable to break loose on people under acceleration, under power. Yeah, and especially in a track like Laguna Seca, where it is just a naturally slick surface here to begin with. Some other guys that we've got up there at the top of the qualifying order right now are guys you expect. David Third Degree Burns, Johan Vanderbilt, Diago Francisco. They're all up there. Tuan Tran is kind of up there as well. Of course, Tuan Tran definitely a stronger racer than he is qualifying. But Tuan Tran, let's talk about Tuan for a second here, Soup, because he had so much luck at the back end of last season. He's really going to be looking to try to get some good luck here to start this season off.
I am very excited to see drivers that we have seen race for so long in those underpowered momentum, lift throttle oversteer cars there of the Skippies now into these cars with downforce and a lot more power. This is gonna shake stuff up a lot.
Oh, it is, and I have to expect that maybe we won't see Aero Num at the top of the point standings at the end of this thing. We'll see, though. Like I said, though, he's a great adapter. He knows how to adapt to things, and I expect we'll see it. Another name that you're going to be very familiar with if you watched ABL is Michelle Rugenbrink. Michelle, of course, returning out there as well. Another guy that you might be familiar with other series across iRacing. Elliot Mimi is going to be out there. Sarah Dove is out there. In fact, Sarah Dove is a regular in one of our other Formula Renault series that we broadcast here on the Global SimRacing Channel. And Sarah Dove right now sits 6th provisionally on the charts.
Well, she put in a lot of time here. We covered the Apex Online Racing League where they raced exclusively in the Formula Renault. She was there, put in a lot of time. She is very, very, I think I have 2 more varies in me, very, very comfortable in this Formula Renault 2.0, and it's showing right now as she is sitting in 6th right now. Now, pit stops. Let's talk about that real quick. They're going to be really fast. They're going to have to take 2 really big pit window here. Imagine 3 segments. They can break it up into 3 equal legs. You can go a third, and a third. Or you can run 2 long legs and then make that last one a splash and go. Or splash and go early and then run 2 long legs. One thing, Adam, what our GSRC policy is, what we believe, we're looking there at Luca Furlick going off into the wall, is we believe that the randomness is much smaller as the quality of car gets higher. So those weird kind of pit stop times that we are familiar with seeing in the Skippy, we may not see those. It'll be more, I think, more uniform now for these drivers as they come and make their stops, hopefully.
It'll be interesting to see for sure. And one thing, too, that we were talking about as far as the damage aspect and how iRacing handles the damage on these pit stops for these Formula Renault machines. Soup, you were the one telling me about it. Why don't you go tell everybody else about it, too?
Yeah, well, first of all, the Renaults are very fragile machines. Now, Laguna Seca, the curbing here is kind of not so unfriendly. But if a car is damaged, even the undercarriage from going over a curb, even though it may not affect your even lap times, iRacing will make the driver fix that repair. They will not let them leave. It's not like something they can just say, the car's fine, let me just put fuel in and let's go. So it'll cost them anywhere between 10 and 15 seconds to fix that car. And we're looking at pit stops of around 4.5 to 5 seconds. No tire changes on these. They should be able to go the whole distance on the same set of tires. And if they are going to change tires, it's going to cost them time because the fuel goes in really fast. Boom, boom, and they're out.
All right. Well, hey, Soup, real quick, we should talk about the weather real quick. We're going to have to go to grid in just a second because, oh, my God, so many cars out there here for today. And it's, of course, it's California. 70 degrees is going to be the air temperature, but that track temperature, 97. It's going to make things even slicker out there than it already is. Winds out of the west, 8 miles per hour, too. It's well documented, at least for me. If I'm talking about the weather, I'll talk about iRacing's model of the winds. And I'll tell you that 8 miles per hour feels a lot stronger than what 8 miles per hour actually does. So expect these cars to maybe not handle as good as they normally would to begin with, and that they will break loose and they will get slick in some portions of the tracks. And of course, Laguna Seca is just a slick track to begin with.
Yeah, and dusty as well. Well, they give him a little bonus time, but let's go ahead and do the grid like now. I feel pretty confident this is how it's going to be. The rookie, Claudius Veed, on the pole. He's going to be flanked by Errol Nunn. Row 2 is David Third Degree Burns. In 4th position, Johan Vanderbilt. 3rd row is populated by Yao Valverde and Sara Dove. We talked about her. Next row, Diego Francisco, the Portuguese driver. Always good. Pierce Scherf-Vilkaki in 8th. Rounding out that graphic there is Tuan Tran in 9th and Timo Rundku in the 10th position.
All right, coming home at 11th for the start the race, it's going to be Michelle Rugenbrink. Alongside him will be another new name, Max Markin. Adam McNally and Vincent Bram will make up the next row. Row 8 is going to belong to Brian Holmes and Nicholas Galley. So 2 new names right there in row 8. Elliot Mimi in row 9, and alongside him will be Eric Lukel, a ABL returner. Christian Schmidt and Alex Janssen will start in row 10.
Then Hidden Blackjack, it's Austin Espedy inside of Ludwig Sawyer. 23rd and 24th, Tom Van Hoyman and Rodrigo Capoletto. Christian Mies in the 25th position. He's going to be inside of Alejandro Liero. Flores Bashar in 27th. 28th, it is Bambi, Neil Bamber. 29th and 30th goes to Ali Cueca and Peter Balassa.
Yeah, in 31st position is going to be Juan Pablo Tony, John Morgan in 32nd, Marcus Goodell, in row 17. Alongside him will be Ulster Hay, Thomas Kick, and Kevin Mills in row 18. Jonathan Beresford and Luca Furlick in row 19. Stefan Miki and Rob Adams in row 20.
Then we get to the 21st position, Samuel Harris, Daniel Salo, David Balat Boytalar in the 43rd position. Robert Elder behind him. Lassie Halmanen, we've seen him before, in 45th position. Florian Hoyne in 46th. Cooper Collier, Michael Bittman back there. Ian Robson in 49th. In 50th, Ricard Colon. We have a few more, Adam.
Yeah, okay. So next up, Edgar Cincinnati, another returner name. He's going to be starting 51st position. Oliver Elliott in 52nd. Franz Josef Stum in row 27. Alongside him will be Matt Carballo. Didier Schmidt and Henrik Lindoff will make up row 28. Elmer Noteboom and Mike Bashir in row 29. Jonathan Cook and Nico Roman in row 30. Not used to see Nico Roman that far back. Of course, usually we would. And I'll just go ahead and round it out here real quick, Soups. You guys got one more row, and that's going to belong to Marcel Sadell and Niall McBride.
There you have it. We're going to get our GSRC's commentators bonus for getting through the entire 62 names. 59 were able to put in qualifying times. 3 drivers did not. Pull the curtain back, full disclosure that we expect this to be a little bit messy early on. We will try to cover as much of the racing as we can and just keep you up to date verbally on some of the incidents that happened farther back in the field. We don't want to make this a replay festival.
It's like, I will tell you, though, that the cars stretch all the way back to almost turn 10.
Yes, they do. They go all the way down the straightaway, through the left-hander that is 11, and all halfway to turn 10. Well, it's time to get another season underway here in the Absolute Beginner League. It's Formula Neagle, and all the attention is going to be on Claudius Veed, the newcomer, sitting up front, racing in the number 11 machine. We'll talk about the team championships a little bit later in the season. We get more familiar. Right now, you know what to do. The lights are up. The engines start to harmonize. Gather up the chicken steak company on the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And it is indeed the rookie Claudius Veed leading the Stampede down into the hairpin. They start to, oh my goodness, they start to go too wide back and behind, but they get it sorted out. It's numb. And then it's going to be, it looks like it is Vanderbilt and Burns.
I can honestly say I have never seen 62 cars like this run on Laguna Seca, really any track for that matter. It is insane, and you know what, Soup? I think everybody that I can see has gotten through the first 2 corners okay.
Congratulations. The hard part is going to be when they get up to 6, and then when they start to bog down at the corkscrew. Right now, it's pretty darn clean, as I haven't heard a lot of bumping and bagging. A few cars go off at 6. Losing a little bit of ground is Tuan Tran. He's one of the guys that got off into the sand. Now they head down into the corkscrew. So far, so good. Everybody getting through right now as we get all the way back. Oh, there's one car cutting the course. One car goes off cutting the course. That was Alex Jonsson, the rookie. All things considered, Adam.
Yeah, and lots more trouble up toward the top of the corkscrew as well. I think we just had our first probably 7-8 car incident back there as well. So lots of trouble back in the middle part of the pack, but the racing's good up front.
And coming across the start-finish line, leading lap number 1 is Claudius Veed. Let me run down your top order. Num is following him. Vanderbilt behind him. Burns and Dove running in the 5th position. Back half of your top 10, Valverde, Francisco, Cocky, Rugenbrink, and rounding at your top 10 is Timo Ronco. All things considered, we did have one big incident that took out several cars, but really more better than I was, coming out better than I feared.
Yeah, so far, I think most cars are still in the race, got some bent up wings, but most everybody, I think, is still out there, which is pretty incredible considering the fact we just started 62 cars at Laguna Seca and be able to get off maybe only 1 or 2 incidents there on the first couple laps.
Field works their way through the corkscrew for the second time. Going relatively well. We had a few guys going slow, but all in all, working okay. We're going to ride on board with Yel Valverde, currently in 6th position.
Of course, you're used to seeing him. I believe it used to be a light blue car, now traded that in for a black and green Formula Renault machine as we have retired the Skip Barber. You see him running real close there with Sarah Dove. Sarah Dove in that usual pink and white car that she's ridden in, I believe also in the Apex Series. She drives that same car. And doing really well out there already, just inside the top 5.
She races out of the UK, as does the man she's chasing, David Burns.
Yeah, right David Third Degree Burns also coming off a great last couple of seasons with that Skip Barber machine. And very encouraging to see him running in 4th here early on in a Formula Renault. So he's going to be another one of those guys that I think is transitioning very well to the new car.
Through the corkscrew for the 3rd time, and it's going okay again. The entire field's single file now. Nobody making a dive bomb. Everyone going through this one at a time. There are some bonus points for hard charger. Let's see if I can pick up who our hard charger is so far. And I can do that. Let's look at Mike Boucher in racing at 35th position, up 23 spots. We'll check in on Mike, see what he's up to. We can't go back that far. Sorry about that. It was such a large field. We have issues getting too far back. I'll just tell you that he is back in 35th. He's got about 2.5 seconds to get up to Stefan Menke and Enric Lindhoff in 34th.
All right, so I guess we're going to go ahead and do this radio style here for a minute as well. Of course, right now up at the front, very, very much just as it's been since the start of this race, Claudio Reed is up there, and he is just feeling the pressure at least a little bit from Euro Num. But Euro Num, Soup, so far in that unfamiliar position as they wind their way down the corkscrew. Being in second, Euro's usually the guy that's setting the pace up here toward the front and in the draft and everything else, making draft moves. That's the other thing we're seeing that's very different out there is that the cars, not very much of big packs.
No, very much different than what we are used to seeing from the old Formula Neagles when they were racing in the Skippies where they would be all together. And honestly, that plays into the hands of the talented drivers like Errol Num and obviously Claudius Veed, as they are quicker and they don't have to worry about people staying on their tail. Unfortunately, Num is going to have his work cut out for him when he comes to running down the leader, who's now up by about 2 seconds as they work lap number 5. Here's what's going on as we're going to get our picture back soon. It is Claudius Veed. He is working through coming up here to corner number 5. They're going to be heading up to the kink here real soon. He's at 1.2 seconds on Num. Num has about 1.5 seconds back to Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt, Adam, is in a pretty good battle from Burns, really looking to get on him for 3rd position.
Is another good battle that we are also seeing out there right now is Diago Francisco and Sarah Dove. Diago is just able to just very cleanly get around Sarah Dove. And Riley, I don't think Sarah put up much of a fight, but Diago right now is a car on the move. He's going to be a car to watch out for here over the next, I'd say about 10 laps. I'd be really interested to see how he does. Of course, now he's teammates with Piers Cockey. I think that's worth mentioning.
Dove, who was racing up in 5th position, just managed to negotiate the corkscrew again as she's completing lap number 5. She has fallen back into 8th position. Piers Cockey right on her tail looking to pick that up. Diego Francisco, the Portuguese driver, racing in 6th. He was very fast in the Skippies. We'll see how he fares in the Renaults. Yao Valverde running at your top 5. Vanderbilt continues to lead Burns in 3rd position. Burns is about 2 car lengths back as they work their way through 3, now through 4. And now we are back. And
it's just in time to see Sarah Dove spin out of, I believe, about 7th position right here. She just the back end broke loose, and that was a very common area in practice for people to see that back end start to come loose. I believe that's turn 5 there, that quick right-hander, and losing a lot of positions as finally she just says, I've got to get around. Slams on the gas, gets around, and everybody else is able to get by her. But, whoa, I believe that's 20-some-odd positions he's going to drop just from that spin there.
Yeah, Piers Cockey had an eye full of that one as he able to get around. He was first on the scene. He moves up into 7th. So Sarah Dove, who was having a good run, she was as far up as 5th, has fallen well down the order now. How about we check in on a former champion, 11th position if we can. Go to Tuan Tran. He's racing all by himself. He's got about 2 seconds up to the rookie, Max Markham. No, something must have happened to Markham. No, he's still okay. He's in 9th. There we go. I just had my time in score. He scared me a little bit. I'll check on that. No, there was an issue, but that's okay. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just have to give the disclaimer, of course, with 62 cars out there, that things might be a little rough at times. Bear with us, but we're going to be just fine here as the car count goes.
Let's go to 7. This is Rugenbrink being challenged by Timo Runku. Runku really on him. Getting some grease on the nose of that number 48 machine as Runku is right behind him right now. They head up. This is corner number 5. Now, one of the scarier corners in iRacing, corner number 6. Even with the big runoffs. And I'm a little bit behind. Now they head down to the corkscrew and going off, leaving some room for people to get around. That's Dieter Smith. Does a good job of letting the drivers go by.
A good job, and a not particularly easy part of the track to let people by, too.
Rugenbrink in 7th, Runko in 8th, and Max Markin in 9th. Let's go back and check up for this final podium spot. They are side by side. That's Vanderbilt on the outside, Arrow Num, and I apologize. This is Vanderbilt coming up on Num. What a great run from Vanderbilt to get up on the back of the rolling Estonian. The fan belt all over the back of the Estonian driver.
Yeah, I'd have to say Euro Num's lap times have fallen off a little bit as Claudius Veed is running away with it right now. And as Euro starts to struggle, we've already talked about Johan Vanderbilt catching back up to him, but he's got David Burns right there. You cannot count out third-degree Burns back there. Of course, hailing from the United Kingdom. David can win these races when he wants to. We still got 2 pit stops to go through here that could really shake things up. But David Burns putting himself in good positions. He's going to go ahead and take a look to the inside here of Johan Vanderbilt, which puts him on the outside and then back to the inside of the corkscrew. But Johan Vanderbilt is able to power through and to still take advantage and keep 3rd place, at least for the moment.
Take a quick look at Num's lap times, and yes, sure enough, lap number 7 was a 121 flat. He'd been running a 119s in the high 118s. So I think he might have had an issue there trying to push really hard to get back on behind the leader. And let's go up to the leader right now because he's negotiating through some traffic. He just got around Ian Robson in 45th position. Now he's got to work on Elmer Notenboom. These are all Notenbooms. Looks like he's already had some trouble as he has no nose cone. And, boy, Veed almost got up in the back of him.
Hey, Soup, I'm trying to find out if anything happened or if it was a connection issue, but Pierce Cocky has fallen out of 7th place. He did disconnect for a little bit. He's back in the session, but that's one of our more popular drivers having issues.
Yeah, that was the issue that I saw when I was talking about Tuan Tran was in 11th and then suddenly moved up to 10th, and I couldn't figure out why. Now I know why. It was Pierce Cocky who had the connection issue. Of course, his nickname for new viewers of this series is Short Phil. He is notorious for not putting in enough fuel, obviously. Really, a series that has 2 pit stops, probably not the best thing that he could have hoped for. Veed able to negotiate around Nodenboom.
And one of our first big incidents with top 15 runner Elliot Mimi getting loose coming out of, I believe that was turn 6 there, and ends up catching, I can't see which car it was, but Tom Van Humen a minute ago knocks off Elliot Mimi's front wing, and he goes in the tire barrier hard. His day is probably done.
And we were looking there at Mimi. Now we go back to David Burns in 4th position. Remember, he was on the tail of the fan build a little while ago. Still back there looking, but that's also going to bring in fact, that's Vanderbilt. They're going around the lap car of Nodenboom. Nodenboom's going to leave that. Oh, boy, he leaves the room open. Left enough room for Burns to get through. And now coming through, and they're going to make contact. That is Yao Valverde. I can see it coming. The Portuguese driver makes some contact with the back marker. Nodenboom was giving just enough room, but then there was a mistake. He was given enough, but not any extra. Right on board with the Portuguese. At this point, I'm here. You gotta, boy. That was probably could have left him more room than that. Good news is, though, Adam, Valverde seems to still be out there.
Yeah, you know, and at least it seemed to be some of that dreaded net code involved in that, too. So I don't really see any damage on his front wing, at least at the moment, but I did a minute ago. So he could actually be having some front wing damage. Now, Soup, you're a little bit more familiar with these Formula Renault cars than I am, with thanks to the Apex series and stuff like that. How much does the front wing actually impact the car at a track like Laguna Seca?
Yeah, it'll crush them. They got it. This is not the Skippy where those little wings were just kind of on their decoration and be pretty. No. They have a, not only they can slow you down, but they also have a huge effect for downforce. Ricard Colomb letting some of the drivers get away. Let's go to, as we're looking at this battle for 31st, this is Kevin Mills and Luca Furlick there trying to make the move. So many drivers here today. Maybe if we can go push it here, we're looking at 31st, so we can go to 22nd position. I believe that is our hard charger right now, Henrik Lindorf. If we're able to scroll through, sometimes with so many cars, it really pushes what we can do. Can't do it. We're going to stay right here. We'll go to 4th position. This is David Burns. Let me just tell you that Lindorf started in, he's racing now up 34 positions, qualified in 56th, now in 22nd. A good run from him. Now let's look at this 7th position battle. This is Runco, and one of the guys we know, a veteran from previous seasons, Michel Rugenbrink.
Yeah, Michelle also believe had a surprise podium toward the tail end of last season as well. At least a surprise to him. We know he's got some talent out there for driving, but I believe it was his first time on the podium for a while. So looking to expand on that success there at the tail end of the last season with the Skip Barber machine into the Formula Renault machine. And so far, good solid top 10 run here for him so far, trying to chase down Timo.
Our leader has worked his way through some of the back markers. And there's a spin. Can we go up to right in front of everybody? It was Brian Holmes coming out of corner number 11. The leader had just got through, and he loops it right out of there in front of Burns got there, was first to the scene. Valverde as well. We're going to push what our system can do, but I think we're going to get it. Watch out of 11th. It was home. Sorry, we missed it. Looking in here to see that we have some reports that maybe Errol Num has come in for a stop. Yes, he has. Num cycles out in 9th position.
That is not uncommon for Euro Num to do something that's off strategy from everybody else. In fact, he's kind of became known for that here the last, I'd say the last couple of seasons, particularly with the pack racing and the Skip Barber. Sometimes he would do it to remove himself from the pack and get out of trouble, where here, I think he just liked doing it so much, he just has done it, and it's going to become more of his norm.
Yeah, 2 big names that came in. We talked about Num, and also Diogo Francisco, the Portuguese driver, came in. Now, here's some stops in the box. Num was in there for 4.1 second, Francisco 4.3 second. Francisco was in a real battle with his countrymate, Yao Valverde. Valverde might have been holding him up a bit. Remember, we saw Valverde make contact with another car. We're looking there. That's Errol Num now in 9th position, trying to make up some time. He is. So look at this. He's getting around Tuan Tran. That's a little bit of a faux pass because Tran has yet to pit, but we're used to seeing those guys battle each other, aren't we, Adam?
Oh, yeah. Usually from that 1 and 2 spot, it's been kind of the norm. But with Tuan Tran's kind of bad luck, I guess, to end the season last year. I keep saying last year, but really it was only a couple weeks ago, last season, that you haven't seen them together too much on the racetrack. So it's good to see that, and we're hoping Tuan Tran's going to be able to adjust to this Formula Renault car really well and be back up in front here in no time.
33 drivers on the lead lap. In fact, 2 of them are going to pull in right as the leader catches up to them. The Strudelmeister, Thomas Kick, decides to pick, as does Luca Furlick. They were about to be lapped by Claudius Veed. Veed now getting around Nico Roman. And there are only 30 cars on the lead lap. Let's look. Here comes Sarah Dove is going to be coming out. She just made her pit stop. She's coming out right in front of the leader right now. Boy, things have gone south for Little Bird. I guess she's migrated, as she is racing in 30th, was as high as 5th. Veed with a lead of 6.3 seconds over the fan belt. Johan Vanderbilt now racing in 2nd. We look at the newcomer. We'll get to know more about him. Hopefully he'll come in and talk to us, no matter how his race ends up.
Claudius has just been able to run very consistent, smooth laps, but we are starting to see the time fall off just a touch at times, but I have a feeling that's mostly due to passing lap traffic. I mean, his car just looks solid right now.
Ronco comes into pit. Let's go to David Third Degree Burns in 3rd position right now. He's got a little bit of an issue to work with here. He's just got around Matt Cabral, and now he's seeing if he can work on Oli Cueca. And after that, he's got more lap cars in front of him. He's got Dieter Schmidt up there as well. Those 2 cars are a cushion between him and the man he's been chasing, Vanderbilt, who's now up by 1.6 seconds. There's a pass for position as Cueca, actually, they're more lap down. Cueca moves around in 32nd position. We'll stay on this a little bit and see if Burns can make quick work of Cueca. Drivers who have pitted while we're watching this, Errol Num still leads them all. Francisco is the 2nd best, and also Timo Ronco came in and made his stop. He cycled out in 16th. He's 3rd of all the cars that have stopped one time. 40 minutes of racing to go. We are 2/3 of the way through. 1/3 of the way through. 2/3 of the way to go. As we stay on Burns, who has had no luck getting around Cueca. Let's talk about Cueca. Maybe he's faster than we think. qualified 29th, racing now in 32nd. Cueca looking to make a pass on position here as he comes up Nico Roman. Roman wants no part of that, and he pits. Burns, try as he might, is burning right now. Cannot get around Cueca. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so if we go a little bit back behind that, go back to like Lashley Halmanen, also Nicholas Gali and Stefan Mike, they were just in a hornet's nest of a fight not more than a half lap ago. It's calmed down just a touch since then, but these guys really go on at it there for those 24th, 25th, and 26th spots. And also now seeing Neil Bamber. Hey, Bambi up there. He's looking to try to make a pass here on Stefan.
Looking at Hallinan there, and there's Bamber in 23rd.
Hey, he's going to go and try to take him here going into the corkscrew, see if he's able to clear him. Smokes the tires just a little bit, gets wide, oh, they make contact. That was significant contact. I think Stefan got the worst of that, and he's having trouble, at least a little bit of trouble getting back up to speed here.
Yeah, it was Bamber got a little bit out of the shape in the corkscrew, came back on, got right into Menike.
Yeah, Menieke's going to come right back in down pit road here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the GSRC replay, riding on board Menieke, and you'll see them go down into the corkscrew. You can even see Bamber get the rear off into that dust and dirt and then slide right back onto the track in front of, alongside Stefan. And I'm wondering if there was some sort of suspension damage there, and Stefan has decided to call it a day.
Well, no, I think he's probably taking a scheduled pit stop there, but I'll tell you right now, we talked about the damage that's going on. He's been in there for 17, 18 seconds, almost 20 seconds now.
Yeah, he's disconnected from the session.
He's done.
He's done for the day, yeah.
Let's go to our leader again real quick, Director, because he's coming up on a battle for 26th position. This is Eric Luca back there in Luca back in 26. He was just able to get around Bamber, but here comes the leader. Bamber is a veteran of the Formula Neagle. He knows, well, actually, he doesn't know how to get in the way because he's usually running closer to the front. Does a good job there. Ooh, Bamber locks him up. Almost gets into the back of the leader, but that's okay. Now Veed gets around the inside of Lucal. And so the battle continues. And Veed can pull away. Veed now going down into the hairpin. And what am I looking at? There's Lucal behind him. I see we're coming out again. That's Tironi coming out of the pits. Sarah Dove cycles around in 27th spot. There we look at Eric Local. So how many cars are still on the lead lap? Well, it looks like 25. Again, Errol Num is out there in 6th position. He's made a stop. Don't forget about him. My dad used to call it the early peel, late reveal. The driver peels off early, you forget about him. And Num, right now, there's Dove we're looking at.
And
sorry, just got around Neil Bamber.
Yeah, and it was a very, very clean pass. Neil Bamber didn't put up much of a fight right there. And it's worth noting that after Sarah's spin a little while ago, she did stay out there for a couple laps, but she has already made her pit stop. So she's working her way back up through the field after her trouble earlier.
Following up on Errol Num in the early peel, late reveal. He peeled off early. He's worked his way up to 5th. He's 26.8 seconds behind the leader. What will be revealed later after our leader makes a stop. Okay. The fan belt has come in to make a stop. Now this will be interesting to see if he's able to get out ahead of Num. Num coming across the line right now. That's on the inside. That's Vanderbilt. Now, he'll pick up ground because it's shorter. The actual car making the pit stop will actually gain ground, but then he won't have the momentum. Num's going to come out now in 3rd position. as he gets around Vanderbilt, and right behind him is Max Markin. Now, Markin is yet to stop.
It's worth noting here, though, that Johan is much closer to Euro than what he was before the pit cycle. So Johan Vanderbilt did gain quite a bit on him. In fact, practically almost right back underneath his rear wing, although they are separated by a couple of tenths back there. And, right back there, yes, your sixth-place runner, Max Markin, running into trouble, trying to get it straightened out into the dirt and gravel. And almost does back on the track, but he's kicking a lot of debris back up there. And that is going to be Luca Furlick and Matt Corbello, 2 lap cars going around him on the outside there at speed.
So the top 2 drivers yet to pit. In fact, wait a minute. It looks like Burns is in right now, as is our leader.
Claudius
is in.
Claudius Veed finally deciding to come down pit road. David Burns, take a look at him. He came in with pretty significant front wing damage there. Can't see what happened to him, but he was hurt when he came down pit road, but he has a new front wing now.
His stop was pretty good, only 4.9 seconds. He didn't have to pay a lot for it, but he does fall in behind Num and Vanderbilt. Let's look at this battle for second ahead. You can see it just up ahead of Burns there. The fan belt is really giving the Roland Estonian everything he could ask for. Num not able to pull away. How about the gap to the leader? 4.2. Burns cycles out in 4th. Yal Valverde, remember he had issues earlier? Has he made his stop yet? Boy, my timing and scoring shows Valverde with a stop of 0.4 seconds. Well, maybe that's his splash. And he'll come in and make another one. And then a long stop, and then it'll be good to go if my timing and scoring is correct.
One of the big changes that our longtime viewers of the Absolute Beginners League here on GSRC are probably getting used to is seeing all those puffs of smoke coming out. Now, we've seen it before with the Skip Barber machine. It can lock up the brakes pretty easy, especially since it was really low downforce. But this Formula Renault machine, it really locks up the brakes, and it really kicks out a lot of smoke when it happens. It's usually nothing to worry about. So occasionally, if you see a puff of smoke, it's probably just the brakes locking up.
Okay, with all the stops done, let's do a quick run-through. I'm going to hustle through here because there's a lot of action. Claudius Veed, about 0.4 of a second ahead of Errol Num. Num in a battle from the fan belt for that second position. In 4th, he's about 1.5 seconds back, is David Third-Degree Burns. Rounding out your top 5, the Portuguese drivers, João Valverde. Then we go to the back half of your top 10. His country mate, Diogo Francisco, in 6th position. Mikael Rugenbrink. Back there, qualified in 11th, up 4 spots. Rugenbrink right now working on the back of Matt Gabriel for that position to get around the lap car. Going back to 8th position, Ludwig Sawyer. Had not heard a lot about him. How about starting 22nd, running up in 8th position? Let's make sure Ludwig has made his pit stop. Sure enough, he has. What a great run from the German driver. Tuan Tran back there in 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Timo Runkel.
I was just watching, almost had an incident here with Euro Num in 2nd, Johan Vanderbilt in 3rd. They were having trouble getting around the lap car of Florida Hone, but they were able to get by him, but it was not without a moment of just almost panic probably from Johan Vanderbilt as the cars almost made contact.
Well, let's stay on that battle because they're coming up on a nice battle that's going on right now just ahead of them for 26th position between Rodrigo Capolletto, and he's being challenged by Christian Mies. He's back there. This is a battle for 26. Now soon, about 10 car lengths back is Errol Num, and then following him is Vanderbilt. Num should be up there pretty fast. We are working just crossing the halfway mark right now with just over 29 minutes of racing to go. Trouble up ahead of these guys. This is really going to get interesting because now Robert Elder is in the mix as well. Elder must have had trouble through the corkscrew. The 2 cars get around him. Capolletto goes by, as does Mies. Now here comes Num. Num's got 2 cars in front of him, and here comes the fan belt behind. Johan trying to take opportunity when it's there. Num drives to the inside. He will not get a good drive off. Watch the fan belt right on his tail. Will this car pull it all?
About to find out.
The fan belt working to the outside as they head to the hairpin. Numb is pinned. He's not going to be able to get the good corner entry. The fan belt might be able to get a good drive off. Why is Elder being so pesky with the drivers in front? Robert, easy, buddy. You don't need to be racing the guys who are battling for second. You're in 27th position. You got nobody around you. You got David third-degree burns behind you. Your job, Robert, is to just stay clean. There's another car off. Christian Meese having trouble. And there goes
Burns.
Elder was caught in it, and Burns is cartwheeling down the track.
Burns had nowhere to go. That happened right in front of them. Heartbreak for your third-place runner, David third-degree Burns.
We'll look at it from above, and then if we can take a shot at it from Yal Valverde, he had a great view of it, and he managed to just thread the needle through here. Look at this. This is Elder gets together with Meese, and Burns is collected, and all three cars go off. And watch this car snaking through here. It's Valverde right there. Woo. So David third-degree Burns gets burned. Will ride on board with Valverde. He's going to be second to the scene, but he had the track was very clogged for him. He had to pick a lane. You be the driver at home. You pick your racing line. You can see the trouble. You can see the dust start to happen. No cars don't bounce over. There's the car cartwheeling in front. He makes the move down below. Nice job by Yao.
Yeah, very heads-up driving, able to get around that, and he's able to slot in a few positions because of the unfortunate circumstance there.
I'm sure the friends and families and fans of Robert Elder are not going to be happy with the commentator, but honestly, being a little too aggressive with guys that are on the lead lap there, and it just it all went south.
Well, you know, in him and Christian Meese, that was for position right there, but at the same time, you got to be aware of what's around you too, and you know, they could have worked it out, maybe tried to pick up their battle again once all the leaders had cleared. But when you got the leaders that are battling that close together, that can be a bit of a heartache, and that's exactly what happened.
So how did that play out? Well, Veed is still up by about 4.5 seconds. Numb, though, let's stay on this. Numb is, my goodness, he's in another pinata full of bees as he just gets around Rodrigo Capoletto. Numb is being hounded by the fan belt.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's being hounded by him, but Johan Vanderbilt being very aware, too, of what's going on in front of Euro Numb. He's not putting Euro in any bad positions by trying to make a move or trying to use a pin or anything like that with these guys, at least here right now. I mean, that could change over the next couple laps, especially as we start getting closer to that second pit stop, which Euro might be having to think about sooner than anybody out there, since he was one of the first ones earlier. But at least right now, racing very conservatively around these lap cars. But as Lindoff actually breaks up them two, he gets in right between Euro Numb and Johan Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt now gets around Lindoff. Tip of the hat to Daniel Sawyer. Let's look back at this battle. Sawyer gets around Lindoff, who lifted. Oh my goodness, in the mix also is Capoletto. This is a battle for 21st position. I wanted to give the tip of the hat to Daniel Solo, who did a good job of getting out of the way of the leaders. My goodness, now he's got his gearbox full of Henrik Lindoff. Up front, Numb is be able to, and there is Eric Elder in the mix again. This is Vanderbilt. Gets around Elder. Elder now 2 laps down.
You'd see just how much time, though, Johan Vanderbilt lost with all that on Euro Numb. He was right underneath his rear wing. Now he's over 2 seconds back.
Let's drop back to 21st position. This is Solo just getting around Robert Elder. This is going to be interesting because here comes Henrik Lindoff. Elder is 1 lap down from these guys. He is 2 laps down overall. These guys are 1 lap down. And it looks like Lindoff was able to lose the guy he was racing with. And there does Elder let the lap car go by. So, you've seen who's up in front, Veed, Numb, and Vanderbilt. You have the 2 Portuguese drivers. In 4th and 5th, Diogo Francisco. He's about 12 seconds up on his country mate. Yeah, Valverde. Oh, and Valverde goes off in the sand as he was trying to negotiate Luca Furlick. That was corner number 6. And this is a good battle because here comes Rugenbrink.
And Diego Francisco is going to be the first of the top 5 to come in for the second round of pit stops.
Should be good to go from here with 23 minutes of racing to go. Valverde does not want to battle with Rugenbrink. Valverde comes in as well. Obviously something figured out there on the Iberian Peninsula about pit stop strategy as both Portuguese drivers come in. That'll let Tuan Tran cycle up into 6th position. Take this opportunity to talk about some of the drivers a little farther back. We'll start in 8th position. Max Markham. Of course, these are a couple vultured because the 2 drivers have come in for pit stops. And I'm looking here again here. Do we have anyone else coming in? Nope, I see people in there. Nope, still 2 stops only from the 2 drivers from Portugal. There's Max Markham running in 8th position, up a few spots. Here's a veteran of the series we have not talked about much. How about Vincent Bream in 10th spot? Now, Valverde is ahead of him, but Valverde is good to go the distance. Bream will have to make a stop. Bream, of course, the teammate for 2 stupid dogs of David Third Degree Burns, who is out of this race. Oh, it's a fan favorite. Let's check in on with Little Birds. Hey, 12 o'clock.
I mean, granted, it's kind of in the middle of a pit cycle right now with some of these guys, but Sarah's, after that spin earlier, she's been able to make up quite a bit of ground. She's, don't get to say this too often in motorsports, and I love saying it, she's a woman on a mission right now.
She is. Well, she had a great qualifying of 6th position. She's certainly fast. She still needs to make 1 stop. Racing in 12th.
Trying to see if anybody's hit my magical mark of being able to get up 40 positions here, and see the closest that I've been able to find here so far is Henrik Lindhoff.
Yep.
And I believe he is now in 22nd position. I'm not sure if we can go to him. He is running 1 lap down, but Soup, I think if I'm doing my math right, I think he is up 34 spots from the start of this race.
And he will be eligible for the Hard Charger Award. Oh, Adam, you're going to love this. They give out a Hard Charger Award, but you know what you need to do to win the Hard Charger Award?
What's that?
You actually have to put in qualifying time.
Oh, that
makes Soup very happy.
I like it. And we actually we got Brem couching Valverde, but we an active battle here that's trying to shape up as well is Tom Van Humen and Juan Pablo Tomomi and Neil Bamber back here. Once again, 14th, 15th, and 16th. You can throw a blanket on them right now.
Really good. These guys are the last cars on the lead lap. Van Humen in 14th.
Yeah.
Tononi in 15th, and Bamber.
Yeah, and you'll see a yellow and white car kind of coming into the background on him. That is your leader, as Neil Bamber has decided to go ahead and come in. That's a good way to get out of the leader's way and maybe see if you can gain some ground on those guys, gain some ground on them in the pits.
A technique preached at the Back Markers United meetings. When you're racing back there and you see the leader coming and you need to make a pit stop, why don't you make it before he gets there? Here comes the dive. Let's look at this battle for 14th, though. Making the pass is Tononi. Juan Pablo Tononi up into 14th. Tom Van Humen back in 15th position. These guys, the last car on the lead lap for now. I'm not sure if they're going to finish this lap on the lead lap because, as Adam pointed out, here comes Veed. Let's go ahead and stay on this and see how the rookie negotiates through here. Now, Tom Van Humen, veteran of this car, I believe. I think I've called him many times over in the Apex Online Racing League. Good to see him doing a little cross-pollination. He does a good job of getting out of the way of the leader. Now Juan Pablo Tononi. Now up ahead, that's Franz Strum. He's going to pit. Strum coming in. He is more than one lap down.
Yeah, I got very close there with Claudius Veed and Juan Pablo Tononi. Tononi led him by on the outside there, on the exit of turn 10, and I don't think Veed was expecting it quite there, but he was able to make evasive action and get around him.
Oh, I got excited there as I saw Johan Vanderbilt make a pass for second, but it wasn't all that exciting because it was the Roland Estonian coming in for that pit stop, Adam, that you thought he'd have to make. Do you know what I think Arrow has decided to do is to break this up into thirds, basically?
Well, so far it seems to be working out for him pretty well. I mean, I don't think anybody really has anything for Claudius Veed here today. I mean, he's just been the class of the field. He's led since the start of this race, and Euronum was only able to challenge him, I think, in the first 5 laps. And ever since then, it's just been he's been away from the races. And Euronum very much, I think, looking at this point of trying to hang on to second, which became a lot easier when Johan Vanderbilt kind of got held up in lap traffic there.
The bad news for Num here is he comes up behind 4 guys that are battling for position. First up is Adam McNally in 23rd. Then about 5 car lengths up is Neil Bamber. Then another 5 car lengths up is Daniel Solo. And then about 10 car lengths up is Hendrik Lindoff. And I think all of those guys are going to be there for a while. Let's look at this battle for 21st right now. This is Solo and Bamber. Bamber chasing. They work their way through the corkscrew. Bamber trying. Oh, he's got a good run. He's going to try to dive it in deep into 11. And he does. And he gets the pass made. That's going to let McNally get in the hunt. Why do we care about this? Because watching the whole thing is Errol Num. Look at Adam McNally. Backs out. He saw the Roland Estonia behind him, and he gets out of the way.
But he caught one of those little pylons that's now stuck on his wing, and those will actually slow you down like that.
Now Solo gives a little room for Num to get by.
It's funny how you say somebody's name who sounds like Solo, and it looks like Adam McNally's, a Star Wars guy with like a little lightsaber on the front. Yes, I just went there.
Markham has come in, as has Sarah Dove, making their final stops. There's McNally in 19th.
Claudius Veed just set the fastest lap of the race so far with an 1 minute 18.591 lap. That is blistering pace at this point of the race. You can almost write a poem with that, Sue. So Claudius Veed continues to run away here from second place. Johan Vanderbilt, that gap between them is now up over 10 seconds. Johan Vanderbilt is going to be having to make his pit stop here before too long, we imagine. Euronum was able to hang out quite a while before he had to come in, but Johan Vanderbilt getting slowed up, runs a little bit off track, and actually Max Markin and Sarah Dove back there actually almost got back up underneath his rear wing. So Johan Vanderbilt maybe not handling as good as he was earlier, but he's still capable of putting down some very quick times, just not quite enough for what Claudius Veed has been able to do here so far. Work our way back to, actually have to go a long way back to third position now. In fact, the system having a little trouble here trying to go back to Euronum. Euronum now back up to third. It's going to be interesting to see where he shakes out. There's a 20-second gap between Johan Vanderbilt and Euronum. So that's we see here when Johan Vanderbilt makes his pit stop over the next couple of minutes. See Euronum there making his way around some lap traffic. see if we find a good battle out there. Is Tuan Tran having a little bit of trouble getting around Robert Elder and in the corkscrew, but he's clear of him now and starting to pull away. But next up is going to be Peter Balsala trying to get around the lap car of Robert Elder. He himself has some trouble. He's going to be off in the dirt. Continuing to look at many battles here going on across the racetrack. Just a question of whether or not they're for position in a lot of ways.
I'm back there. I was doing a little commentating. Didn't realize that no one was hearing me there. I had some really funny things to say.
Sarah Dove continues on her mission here, Soup. But she's getting into a lot of traffic while she's doing it. I mean, that's just that's a lot of cars trying to weed your way through.
Well, that was a pass for position there. That's Max Markham in 15th position. She got around him. And now this is all for battle. This is Janssen up and ahead of him here. And Ronku. Now Ronku in the yellow car on the inside, or that citrus-flavored car. He's in 12th right now. Dove has a great run. I feel 3 wide coming here in a minute. Dove with a run, but she has nowhere to put that car. She's going to settle back there and just nestle up in 15th, 14th position. Watch out, because here comes Markham in the mix. Good racing going on right now.
Oh, a little bit of a bump there. Timo Ronku gets bumped by Alex Janssen.
Look at Sarah Dove back there being really smart. She knows there's really nowhere to go. It's Van Hoyman is 4 seconds ahead once they get around. Now they dive down. That was into 5. Now they come up to 6. Yep. This is a scary one. Look at the run. Oh, my goodness.
Now, Soup, it is worth noting that out of these cars up here...
that's Vanderbilt!
Vanderbilt's off the track.
You saw them go by. Those were the 4 cars running right by him. He lost it out of 6. If you want to get a good look at it, maybe we can get a replay from the car angle of Tom Van Hoyman. Man, he had an eye full of that one. Corner number 6, it'll bite you. And there's Van Hoyman, who was right behind him. The fan belt, he almost had it. There's the pass.
And while we're watching this, Johan Vanderbilt has decided to go ahead and come in.
He'll make his second and final stop. So, let's go back now and check in on that battle.
And our leader came in as well. Leader Claudius Speed is also now coming off of pit road. His final stop of the day.
With about 10 minutes of racing to go, let's go ahead and check in on this battle for 12th. Boy, that's Dove on the outside. The citrus-flavored car of Ronco on the inside. Dove with the momentum. She has the run. They come up to the dreaded corner of 6. You can't go too wide through here, can you? I guess you can. Now up the hill to the corkscrew. Look at Dove. She has the momentum. Again, she'll be on the outside. They're going to go too wide through the corkscrew. They get it sorted out. The dark colored car behind Max Markham watching the whole thing. Dove really wants that spot. I want to check to see if these guys are they done with their stops. They are. Through 11. Dove again will have the momentum on the outside. A pretty good drive off from Ronco. Not so much from Dove, and now she is under challenge from Markham. Just over 10 minutes of racing go. Dove's going to drive it in deep. No, she woes it up. Car coming out in front. That's João Valverde in 10th. That's going to be for position, but the Portuguese driver gets out well ahead of him by 1.5 seconds. By timing and scoring is showing Errol Numb as our race leader. Numb ahead by 4 seconds. We're right on board with Mark, and meanwhile I'm trying to figure out why we have a new race leader. What was the pit stop time of Claudius Veed? A pit stop of 12.6 seconds for the rookie. We continue to watch this battle from Markham. Nothing really to see up front other than Veed had a horrible stop and lost the lead to the Roland Estonian. Could there have been damage on the car, and did he fall victim to it? And Markham gets lost. Take a look at that one on the replay. That was Dove who got into him out of 11. A little bit of a turn. Not only does he lose those positions, he loses us to Astaire Hay and Nicolas Gaillet as well. My mom used to say you can only dance the tango in a china shop so long before you're going to break some porcelain. And that's what happened. The battle continues, though. Dove is not done. She's now working on that citrus-flavored car of Roinko, and she's going to get him. Move Little Bird up to 11th.
Good place on the track to get him. So, yeah, and that's move Sarah actually 11th or 10th there. A little bit of a timing scoring there. There, it catches up. She's in 11th. So, and keep in mind, Soup, that after her spin earlier, she fell to 27th position, and that was before the first round of pit stops and everything else. And she's been able to climb her way back up to 11th.
But
we're looking back up front. Veed slowly but surely catching Numb. I think the question's going to become here, Soup. Does he have enough time?
Now, just go to show you Numb's. I'm just looking at the numbers that I see. Numb's pit stop time, a tick under 2 seconds. Now, that could be his flash and go, but my goodness, Veed is really closing the gap. Veed, of course, had that horrible stop of 12.5 seconds. Had to probably be some damage. We talked about it, that had to be repaired. That's my guess.
And that lap there I'm gonna tell it like it is. For whatever reason, iRacing did not count that lap as the fastest lap of his race. It was the fastest lap of his race at 1:18.579. So he right now is pushing it.
It is a gap of 2.8 seconds between the leader and Veed, who's coming. Also in there is the cushion of David Boutelar, but Boutelar will do a good job of getting out of the way. They come to the hairpin. Numb's going to have some lap traffic himself. I'm sorry, as they come to the, I said hairpin, I meant the corkscrew. Numb has some problems here with Notaboom in 31st and Nicholas Galley. Galley actually makes a move for position. That's going to slow Numb down. I don't think he gets a good exit out of the final corner. He's stuck behind 2 back markers right now. He wants to get that out of the way. The interval is now under 2 seconds. Numb negotiates one, negotiates the second, but does not get a fast entry into the hairpin.
Veed can definitely within sight. Definitely within sight here of Euro Numb. But he's going to have to get through the same 2 lap cars that Euro Numb just had to get through, that being Elmar Noteboom and Nicholas Galley. And at least I think he's going to catch Noteboom here in a favorable location to get around him easy.
Yep. The bad news from Numb was he got him when they were side by side. He's going to get him one at a time. The interval now back up over to 2 seconds. 5.5 minutes of racing to go. Sometimes you got to pay your dues. You just can't come into the absolute beginner Formula Neagle and expect to get a win. And it was the pit stop that got the rookie Claudius Veed. Running in the podium position, that final podium position, Diego Francisco. And there's a good battle. Let's drop back. This is really hot. Battle for third through the corkscrew. This is Vanderbilt trying to make up for his mistake. He wants that podium. It's Portugal versus the Netherlands. Out of the final quarter. Oh, and Johan gets really loose. He'll lose all of his momentum. And with just 4.5 minutes of racing to go, don't think the fan belt's going to have much now for Francisco.
It might be a discretion's a better part of valor thing there, knowing that he has almost a full minute on Vincent Brim back there. So maybe
Let's
just
go to Num.
Fourth, but Num right now.
Holy moly!
The gap continues to close, but I just don't know, Claudius, if he has enough time still, but it's getting close. So
Num working on now. This is a battle between Hay and Runco. And he makes hay while the sun shines. He gets that one done, and now he's got Runco to pass.
Oh, and don't forget, Nicholas Golly back here is going to be fighting for position with Ulster Hay in front of Claudius Speed also. So all these three cars, these three lap cars, they're all for position. And Claudius back there right now, I think he's feeling the pressure because he is looking for every way he can to get around Nicholas Golly.
Golly being held up and Num being held up. Now Num gets a run around Runco.
So now that'll put three cars fighting for position in between Num and Claudius Veed.
Veed dives it in really, really hot inside of Hay. He gets that one done. Next up from him is Galley and then Runco. That's a battle for 11th position there between Runco and Galley. 3 minutes of racing to go. Veed does not care about their battle for 11th. Veed wants to get around and run down the leaders. There's no room as it's too wide.
Oh, Runco gets loose in front of Veed. No contact.
That opens the door.
There we go. The race is on for the lead. The race is on for 11th position as well. All right there on your screen.
Hay gets the best of Galley as Galley starts to blink. Hay right up on the back of Runco as they go through the corkscrew. Runco gets loose. Hay gets that position. Great fighting going on behind. What's going on with Hay now that he's done? Oh, it's 2.5 seconds to Num.
Yeah, Veed lost a lot of time to Num, and there is Sarah Dove is going to be the next car in front of Euro Num, and he has a long way before he catches up to her. So that might be all she wrote there with Claudius Veed. I don't think he's going to have enough time here in the last 2 minutes.
Well, that's what I said for the fan build. Johan Vanderbilt in 4th position. After he got loose, I thought he lost all of momentum, had no chance to get Francisco, but he does as he's now 3 car lengths back. With just under 2 minutes of racing to go, it's now 2 car lengths. They head down into corner number 2. The Andretti hairpin, boy. Oh, Johan Vanderbilt's car has some shadowy fancies right now as it's hard to handle. Heading through 3, up to 4. Getting out of the way. That is David Blutelar. One minute of racing to go. Num with a 2-second lead. Our best battle right now is for 3rd. The fan belt really working that Formula Renault 2.0. Driving it like it was a skippy, having it sideways. Through the corkscrew. Down to Rainy Curve. 1 car length back. If you can get a good drive, this is 10. If you can get a good drive out of 11, he doesn't want to be too close. He wants to be able to get a good run. A defensive line from Francisco. On the outside, he'll have the momentum, will be the Netherlands driver. The Dutch driver now with his foot to the floor. The preferred position inside for Francisco. A little farther around as the straightaway kind of veers. Again, shadowy fancies for Vanderbilt as the car gets loose. They work around Bittman. Vanderbilt's car is evil. Francisco makes a mistake. Vanderbilt cannot capitalize. Our leader, 1.7 seconds as he comes through the corkscrew. He'll be shown what I think will be the white flag, unless it's the checker flag. I want to make sure on this. Nope. Checker flag coming for Arrow Num. He qualified 2nd. He had some problems. Pit strategy and then a bad stop from his prey. Season 14, round number 1 from Laguna Seca goes to Arrow Num. Claudius Veed will get second. Let's check in on third position. It is hotly contested. Francisco goes off in the dirt. This is the final corner. Momentum now from Vanderbilt. Francisco gets loose again. Vanderbilt will have the momentum. He's going to get him, as Francisco's going to have to settle for fourth. Give the Dutch driver third. Mikel Rugenbrink comes across. He's going to be fifth. A quiet run from Tuan Tran through Rainey. He's easily going to get sixth spot. Is there a battle out there? Nobody. Only 9 cars on the lead lap. Valverde, Johnson, and how about Little Bird Saradov? She's going to come home inside the top 10. Last car on the lead lap. Even if she crashes, she's going to get that position, I believe. What we're going to do right now, the racing is over here in Laguna Seca, but our broadcast is far from done. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be back to run down the entire finish order, talk to some of the drivers, especially some rookies, get to know them, and then put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Short break here. Busy day here at GSRC. Welcome back. Sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League. Welcome back to GSRC's coverage of Formula Neagle Season 14 debut from Laguna Seca. The racing is done. Let's run down your finishing order. It's the Roland Estonian. He gets the win ahead of Claudio Veed. The Vanderbilt comes home in third. Johan Vanderbilt, Diego Francisco in fourth. Rounding out your top 5, Mikel Rugenbrink. Back half of your top 10, Tuan Tran, Yael Valverde, Alex Johnson, Sarah Dove, the last car on the lead lap. First car, 1 lap down, Vincent Green. Adam?
Yeah, coming home in 11th position today. All-Star Hay, a great run up 23 spots from where he started this thing. Nicholas Gali, Timo Rocco, what a fantastic battle between those three at the end. Max Markin back there as well in 14th. Juan Pablo Tononi in 15th. Tom Van Humen in 16th. Neil Bammer coming home in 17th. John Morgan in 18th. Eric Lukel in 19th. Peter Pasala in 20th here.
Saw some good racing back here in 21st. Daniel Solo gets the blackjack spot. Double duck position, Henrik Lindoff. Adam McNally, 23rd. He's going to be followed by Lassie Hoyman. Nico Roman in the quarter century mark. 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th go to David Butlar. Franz Josef Strum. Robert Elder, who I gave a little bit of a hard time to, but he'll learn. Michael Bittman in 29th position, and in 30th, Pierce Cockey.
Yeah, in 31st position, Mac Barlow. Samuel Harris had a lot of trouble there right at the tail end of the race. He's getting up in 32nd. Elmer Noteboom in 33rd. Ian Robinson in 34th. Licker Furlick in 35th. Kevin Mills in 36th position. Richard Kaloum in 37th. Didier Schmidt in 38th. 39th could go to Brian Holmes in 40th. With the heartbreak, David Burns.
Start at 41st and then add 1 position for each name I mentioned. Rodrigo Capoletto, Ludwig Sauer, Christian Mies, Florian Hoyman, Hoyn, Oli Koika, Thomas Kick, the Strudelmaker back there, Stefan Menke, Edgar Sanchinelli, Elliot Mimi, and Cooper Collier. Adam?
All right, in 51st position, you will find Marcus Gastel, Mark Boucher, Oliver Elliott, Osman Espetti, Alejandro Liro, Christian Schmidt, Floris Bashar back there in 57th. 58th is going to go to Jonathan Cook. Jonathan Beresford in 59th. Rob Adams in 60th. And I'll go ahead and round it out again here, just like I did in qualifying. Marcel Seidel and Neil McBride will round out the field.
We're going to talk to our runner real quick. We're going to give him 1 question. Well, Errol, how did you got the win. It was a little tougher in the Formula Renault than it is in the Skippy for you. You had to work.
Yeah, I need maybe more practice, but yeah, I realized really quick that it's important to make no mistake. Only had one slowdown, so yeah, rest was just that tactic went a bit.
You got to figure with the Formula Renault being less draft sensitive than the Skippy, this has got to play into your hands once you figure out how to race the car.
Yeah, and the pit stop doesn't make a difference in the fuel number, so no need to save fuel.
Right, exactly. Well, congratulations. You won last season, and you start off this one with a win. Way to go.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
There is our race winner today, Aeronum. Unfortunately, that's all the time we're going to have as we ran a little bit late here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Don't go far, though, because we have another broadcast coming up. Let's thank the people that made this possible. Everybody at the Absolute Beginner League for organizing this series and allowing GSRC to broadcast it. How about the companies and equipment that you see on the screen right now that makes the broadcast possible, and the original music from Eric Eckham and Casey Lalonde. Adam?
Yeah, Formula Neagle returns in 2 weeks, June 17th. We're going to go to Road America. I hope you join us. And, of course, you can always check us out at globalsimracingchannel.com and at Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook/Global Sim Racing Channel. And, of course, while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
On behalf of myself and the entire GSRC crew, we'd like to thank you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.